Hello and welcome back to CEO.CA's Inside the Boardroom. My name is James Petham and today I'm joined by Joanne Freeze, President and CEO of Xali Gold. Joanne, it's great to be chatting with you this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
So let's kick things off with a quick elevator pitch. Can you give us the background of Xali Gold?
Sure. We're actually a spin out of what was Candente Resource Corp. We started the company in Peru to look for more high sulfidation projects that I was lucky enough to be part of in the 90s, a discovery there, Lake Yanacocha. In any case, we spun it out in 2010. We had by then had a big copper deposit in Peru, and we had investors like copper and others liked gold and silver. So we spun out. It was Candente Gold, and then we changed names a year ago. We were mostly focused in Mexico, and Xali is a big name in Mexico.
Great. So I know you have a couple of different projects in Mexico. You know, the flagship project, the Oro project, but you also have a rent-to-purchase agreement, I believe, on a processing facility in Western Mexico, in Nayarit, and also that exploration potential in Peru. Could you walk us through each of those three projects and the significance behind them?
Yes, certainly, and our history. So in Peru, when we were exploring for gold and silver, we weren't so lucky, so we decided to go to Mexico. We did a deal with what was the predecessor of Gold Corp. They had bought the Tayoltita mine and didn't want to do their own exploration, so we managed to get into the Oro project from them. It's a past producer of 8 million ounce gold equivalent from mostly two veins. So we did some drilling there. We proved that the gold and silver continued at depth, but we didn't come up with a 43-101 resource, so basically waiting for the markets to get better for junior explorers, we decided to purchase a plant on the West Coast that had revenues of $1 to $2 million a year for vein minerals or vanny minerals. We got into that, and we own 50% of that plant now, and things just weren't moving enough. So we decided to venture it out. So we have an agreement with another group to rent to purchase. So they've been giving us some money, and now we're kind of. It's still in production. It's as less productive as we'd like, but in any case, it's moving along nicely. And back at El Oro, we also did a deal in 2013-14. We drilled off some tailings. So we have 120,000 ounces of gold, 3 million ounces of silver in tailings that are sitting in the town. So we did a deal with the town, the municipality, to clean it up. But also, of course, so we'll reprocess, get all the gold and silver out and share profits with them. Along the way, we had a deal with one group called Sun River Gold, but we've recently turned to another group, Kappes Cassidy, and they've in turn brought Starcore in. And the real benefit of that is that they have more production experience in Mexico, but also they have an operating mine. Starcore has an operating mine. Kappes Cassidy has all the metallurgical technology and know-how. So together, the three of us will end up, putting this in production. And we already have the one permit we need. Prior, we needed 2 permits because we had to build our own reprocessing plant. But now we don't because Starcore already has permitted mine and mills operations. So, there will be an infrastructure needed to be built, but we don't have to wait for more permits, is my understanding at this point. So all of that going on while we're hoping to raise money to do more drilling at El Oro. And in the meantime, I have a lot of experience in Peru, and I believe there are more Yanacochas, Piarinas, high sulfidation gold deposits to be found there. So we want to change our focus there. Exploration focus, I should say.
Great. Thank you so much for that overview. I do want to circle back on this reprocessing project at the tailings in the El Oro project. Can you tell us a bit more about Starcore's involvement? What are the timelines for this project, and what are you hoping to get out of it in terms of production?
Well, the 120,000 ounces of gold and 3 million ounces of silver, they expect to get an average of 75% recovery. So that would be the total, and probably over about 5 years would be the operation. I don't know how soon they'll get in production, but Starcore and, as I said, Kappes Cassidy have much more experience than we do of operating, and that real operation in Mexico, and even our predecessor, joint venture partner. And one of the big things in Mexico these days is permitting. It's an unknown timeline. But now that we already have the only permit we need, as I say, to my understanding, then, the timeline is just a question of, I guess Capus Cassidy wants to do some drilling pretty soon, more drilling. They've already done some test work they had done test work over the years, but they did recently some bulk sampling with backhoe. And now they want to do some drilling so they can do more systematic testing. Once that test work, is shows what they need, then they with Starcore can get the financing to build the processing plant and make sure it's engineered properly for their process. They have a slightly different process than people have looked at before, and so I honestly, hopefully within a year, I guess it was what I would say for time be in production. Yeah. And then we'll get up to a 4% NSR on it. But minimum, some buyouts on that. So minimum would be 3%. And then the municipality, of course, has a win as well. They get land back that they haven't been able to use because these tailings are sitting on it right within the town. Make sure it's all clean, and they get some of the profit as well.
Great. Yeah, it's an interesting project. Sounds like there's a lot of upside there as well. I want to talk a little bit about your catalysts for the year ahead. You mentioned that you're looking to do a financing and raise some money. I guess, how is that process going, and what are you hoping to achieve this year in terms of further exploration and development work?
Well, the first thing is to lock in some more properties, exploration properties, because Mexico is now in a cash flow situation for us. And while that money comes in, and actually with the plant could be coming in much more strongly, we anticipate doing a raise, but once we've locked in some more exciting exploration targets in Peru where we'd want to be drilling and advancing. And so we already have a deal with Barrick on one of our properties we've had for a long time, Tres Marias Pataqueña vein. It's a high-grade vein in an area that Barrick's been very aggressive lately. So they'll be working on that one. We would get a nice NSR, payments out of an NSR there. And I know they've been drilling in the area and very excited about it now. But our main focus will be lock in some of these exploration targets that, by my previous experience, my co-founder, Freddie Wonke, have experience in the high sulfidation, which is Yanacocha Piarinas, and lock in some projects on that, and then look at raising some money. So we're not trying to raise money tomorrow, just once we lock in projects that warrant big drilling programs or serious drilling programs. Yeah.
Great, understood. Thank you for clarifying on that. I want to circle back a little bit to the team at Xali Gold. Can you walk us through maybe some of your experience in the industry and anyone else on the management team and what they bring to the table?
Sure. Well, I always hate to tell people this, but I've been in the business since 79 part-time and full-time since 81. But I lived in Peru in the 90s, and that's when Peru was just opening up. Well, I went there to work with my children, my husband. And it was just, Fujimori was just opening up the country to international investment, and amazing discoveries were made. Yanacocha, when I wrote my report, I was a QP for Piarina, we stated they were saying they thought they had 3 to 5 million ounces of gold, but we thought maybe they were underestimating. Well, it ended up Yanacocha's over 50 million ounces of gold. Antamina came online, or actually was discovered when we were there. Many porphyry coppers. Peru went from being a silver, lead, zinc, and tin country in veins mostly to being second in the world for copper. I think it's now third today, but it'll come back to second, I'm sure, production, and fifth in the world for gold. So being in a country, watching it open up like that, just through exploration, was really instrumental in my change in my career to start my own company. But as I say, a co-founder and lots of people helping me. Larry Cornsey, who was a well-known geologist with lots of discoveries from Barrick, he joined our company in the early days. And Matthew Melnick is another person who's joined us in the last 5 years and brought to us the plant in Nayarit and some other really good ideas, and also has experience in Argentina, Peru, high sulfidation, structural specialties. And then we have lawyers and financiers and other people on the board as well.
Great. Well, certainly a lot of experience on the team, especially in Peru, which is really interesting to have. And I imagine you spend a lot of time down there still. Just to wrap up, is there anything that maybe we haven't talked about, or is there anything that investors should be keeping in mind when they're looking at Xali Gold, compared to other companies of a similar size or in a similar region? What sets you apart that you think people should be keeping in mind?
Well, the fact that we've managed to find cash flow, yet we're just an exploration junior. So our plant alone, the payments were $150,000 a month for 10 months. $1.5 million is the value of the plant. But now it's more of a profit sharing on bringing in ore from other small mines. So that could be giving us revenues of $60,000 to $90,000 easily, and that would be for longer term. And then getting the tailings into production is another revenue opportunity. We've also been in discussions with a group that would like to put back into production some of the backfill that's left in the mine at El Oro. The old timers didn't take out anything less than probably 9 grams gold. And Luisman, actually, the people we got it from, who was the predecessor of what got bought out by Goldcorp, predecessor of Goldcorp, they estimated, and this is non-43 101, very historic, but they did talk about and had all the geological work on it. 750,000 ounces of gold and about over 30 million ounces of silver in the old workings. So we have a group interested in looking at that and going in and getting underground, which would be 2 benefits. They would pull out the gold and silver and we would profit share, but as well, we would get access to drill underground, which would be great because all our drilling had to be from most of our drilling had to be from surface. And that's much more difficult to really pinpoint the bonanza zones.
Well, Joanne, thank you so much for chatting with us today. Looking forward to more updates from Xali Gold throughout the year.
Thank you very much.